make note of the alternate minimum tax. The rate is 18.5%. 18.5%, and there you just make a note, that is alternate minimum tax is now applicable for LLPs, limited liability partnerships, partnership firms, individuals, HUFs, AOP, BOIs, and the good thing is like there is no surcharge. Yes, all of you know that except for the company SSEs, no other SSE has got any surcharge as it is. So what is happening? Your 18.5% plus 3% surcharge on it effectively brings the rate of tax to the 19.055%. Then friends, I move to the next issue here. Of course, at this juncture only I will try to put some more light onto the your alternate minimum tax. See, alternate minimum tax equally is important even for the students preparing for the IPCC. Look at, as per the amendment, where the regular income tax payable for a previous year by a person is less than the alternate minimum tax payable for such previous year, the adjusted total income shall be deemed to be the total income of such person, and he shall be liable to pay the income tax on such total income at the rate of 19.055%. So try to first understand what it is. There is no much panic one has to have and say that a new tax in the form of alternate minimum tax is brought. No. First you should be clear with how to compute the total income, that you do it. On that computed total income, in the normal way you calculate the tax on that total income. Then what you do is, you see what are your book profits and apply this 18.5% plus that educational cess and all. Then you compare the regular tax with this particular amount which I told, that on book profits you are applying this particular rate. In case if your normal profits are less than 18.5% of the book profits, then you have to pay the tax as 18.5% of your book profits, and you keep in a note the difference between these two taxes is eligible for a credit in future years to come. So for the purpose of the book profits, when I say book profit, it is adjusted total income is what the word I have to make use. So how to calculate the adjusted total income? First you calculate your total income in the normal way. Then if you are an SSE who is eligible for deductions and you have claimed those deductions while computing your total income, what deductions? 80H2 80RRB and 10AA. Then whatever that deduction is there, that you add it back, not a big deal. That is, if you are getting any exemption under 10 deduction under 10AA and deduction from 80H2 80RRB except for the ATP deduction, all those deductions what you have claimed while calculating the total income, you add it back to your total income, that automatically you get the adjusted total income. Of course, in MAT provisions we use the word book profits. Here in alternate minimum tax we are making use of the word adjusted total income. Then of course, thanks to the lawmaker, small people are being kept away from the rigor of this particular alternate minimum tax. The provisions of alternate minimum tax shall not apply to an individual HUF and AOP or BOI or artificial juridical person if the adjusted total income of such person does not exceed 20 lakhs. These kind of things you have to remember. Write down. Non-applicability of alternate minimum tax. Non-applicability of alternate minimum tax. The provisions of alternate minimum tax, shall not apply to an individual oblique HUF oblique AOP oblique BOI oblique artificial juridical person if the adjusted total income does not exceed rupees 20 lakhs, does not exceed rupees 20 lakhs. And also make note of how do you calculate this adjusted total income. And you should first feel comfortable with the provision and have a feel that this is not a very tough provision. You will calculate the total income. First, if you calculate total income properly, calculating the alternate minimum tax is not a tougher task, because what you have calculated, there certain deductions you are taking for 10 AA and your 80 section 80 deductions, that is 80H to 80 RRB except ATP, those deductions which you have taken, now you add it back so that it becomes adjusted total income. Please make note, that is adjusted total income shall be calculated as under, first total income less, not less, you have to add, because already total income with, after reducing all that only you got the total income. Total income, add back, add deductions claimed under section 10 AA, and deductions under section 80H2, 80 RRB brackets other than deduction under section ATP, Then friends, one more important thing you should make a note is tax credit of AMT, tax credit of alternate minimum tax, What is this tax credit? First of all, you quantify the tax credit, then you can write about the, what is it, it's being allowed to carry forward for how many years. Every year when you pay alternate minimum tax, then you have to make a note of what is the credit which is available. Why I am allowing the credit? Because actually an SSE is supposed to pay the tax as per the Income Tax Act, what the income he has and the tax he has to pay on it. Suddenly we brought the concept called as alternate minimum tax, where we said 18.5% of your adjusted total income, you have to take it as your alternate minimum tax, and if your regular tax is less than the alternate minimum tax, then you pay the alternate minimum tax. Then the difference between alternate minimum tax and the regular income tax is the amount of the credit which you can take it forward. So in the future years, if your regular income tax is more than the alternate minimum tax, then you are paying regular income tax. At that point of time, I am going to give the credit for earlier credit of the AMT. So first, quantification of a credit for AMT. Write down, that is AMT credit, alternate minimum tax credit, is equal to alternate minimum tax credit is equal to alternate minimum tax minus regular income tax. How do you calculate alternate minimum tax, friends? What is your adjusted total income into 18.5% plus your educational cess. In other words, your AMT is, write down, alternate minimum tax is equal to, on the top of this you write, alternate minimum tax is equal to 19.055, no surcharge because no companies are there, only for companies surcharge is there, but alternate minimum tax provisions are only applicable for other than companies, because for companies already we have a similar kind of provision in the form of a minimum alternate tax. So 19.055% of adjusted total income, 19.055% of the adjusted total income. Next, write down tax credit or other way around, AMT credit, alternate minimum tax credit, shall be allowed to be carried forward, up to 10th assessment year, immediately succeeding the assessment year, for which such credit becomes allowable. Credit will be given if regular income tax exceeds, alternate minimum tax. Friends, then we move to the next issue, securities transaction tax. Of course, I don't make you to write here. This provision again we are going to have in the next topic to come, your profits and gains from that is your capital gains topic. There you can make note, here you can listen. That way you have one convenience in attending this class. I am explaining this particular concept not once. There are certain provisions which I am revising here itself, and you are making a note of the points also. So if same thing if I am repeating at 2 or 3 places, make a note of only one thing in your mind, that is definitely relevant from the examination point of view. Chalo. Securities transaction tax. There is a table here. Of course, there is no much of a change except for what? See, what is securities transaction tax? I think first you get into it. We have shares and securities listed in the recognized stock exchange. And if the shareholder wanted to transfer such shares and securities, then he has to pay the securities transaction tax. Here try to understand, normally tax will be paid by one person, whereas securities transaction tax gets paid by two people. One is the purchaser and the seller. Both are exposed to the securities transaction tax. Of course, in the capital gains topic, what we have studied, if you are paying securities transaction tax and the gain happens to be long-term capital gain, then such a long-term capital gain gets exempted. Who said so? Section 10 says so. Similarly, if it is a short-term capital gain and if it is subjected to the securities transaction tax, then such a short-term capital gain is subjected to the tax at a flat rate of 15%. Normally, short-term capital gains will be added to the other incomes and you will calculate the tax in the normal way. Whereas, if short-term capital gains arising from sale of securities are subjected to the securities transaction tax, then such will be liable for tax at what rate? At the rate of 15%. Here it is only a general knowledge story. That is, tomorrow if somebody asks you what is the securities transaction tax, at least you should tell them what is the percentage that they are paying. The purchaser or the seller purchase / sale of equity shares or units of the equity oriented fund, delivery based. Earlier it used to be 0.125%, today it is 0.1%, slightly they reduced it. But why we are discussing about the securities transaction tax is, we have a beautiful amendment in the capital gains topic. There you will understand why you should know what is the securities transaction tax and rate of that. With respect to all other things, there is no change, and to some extent CA examination is a test not for your intelligence but for your memory. Not only CA exam, even IAS examination also test for the memory. There are many facts you have to memorize. And the toughest task as a teacher, let me tell you to all of you, till 18 years, there is no much problem with memory. The problem is with understanding. After you cross 18 years, the problem is not with understanding. Vani Manasa can very well understand anything, even Urdu also. But the problem is in, what is it? Memorizing the things. Because after 18 years, what happens? What happens? We became adult. And so much of the virus entered into our brain. So our memory, yes, more than computer memory, human being has got lot of memory, but half of our memory got affected by the virus. That is where the tougher task is. Of course, as a CA students, I think all of you are seriously pursuing for the CA course. So you have a good memory, and if you don't have, also try to go to some classes how to improve on your memory. Simple. If you go, they say please do the meditation, have a good food, don't have the junk food. All this is being told for what purpose? So that your memory will improve. Once your memory improves, CA exam is a very, very simple exam, right? Because there is a lot of things that you have to remember. So dear students, keep all your tensions away when you are preparing for the CA. It's very easy to say, but difficult to practice. Chalo, back to the point. Now just make a note of that change which is being brought. Securities transaction tax. There is a reduction in securities transaction tax. There is a reduction in securities transaction tax from 0.125% to 0.1%, when there is a purchase oblique a sale of equity shares comma units of equity oriented fund brackets delivery based. Now there is no much of an amendment with respect to the rate of tax to which the wealth tax is subjected to, but because we are discussing all the rates of tax, I thought it better to discuss even with respect to the wealth tax rates. There is no change in the wealth tax rate. As per the existing law, wealth tax is imposed at what percent? At the rate of 1% on the value of the specified assets held by the taxpayer on the valuation date, if it is in excess of the basic exemption limit of 30 lakhs. Of course, this is more relevant for the final students. I think all of you know what is wealth tax, and you have to first calculate the net wealth, and there is a basic exemption limit of 30 lakhs. Over and above that, if the SSE has got the net wealth, it will be subjected to the tax at the rate of 1%. There is no much of a change, right? So, but still love to write down wealth tax. There are no changes in the wealth tax rates. There are no changes in the wealth tax rate. It is 1% of the net wealth in excess of rupees 30 lakhs. Right. This is also something which is more relevant for the final students. Tonnage taxation. Shipping companies and all will be carrying the goods. They are all being subjected to the presumptive tax. I think all of you are aware of the fact that there are certain categories of the SSEs who are given the benefit of not maintaining the books of accounts and not getting the accounts audited. All that is being given because law don't want to harass them. Of course, law will definitely harass them if they don't listen to law. That means if I am covered by the presumptive income scheme and if I don't want to offer the income as per the presumptive income as per that particular scheme, then law is very harsh. You have to get your accounts prepared and get them audited also. So here what I am trying to put before you is for shipping companies how you have to calculate their income. So operating profit of a shipping company is determined on the basis of tonnage capacity of its ships. Of course, there is a small change there. Earlier it used to be, of course, what are the slabs, you just have it. The income that you have to offer is based on what is it? Tonnage capacity of that particular ship. If the tonnage capacity is up to 1000, 1000 to 10,000, 10,000 to 25,000, above 25,000. If that is the case, the rate, that is what is the income, how you have to calculate? For each 100 tons, earlier it used to be 46 rupees, now that it is being increased to 70 rupees for each 100 tons, that is up to 1000 tons. Now 1001 ton to 10,000 if it is a capacity, then earlier it used to be 460 plus 35 for each 100 tons exceeding 1000 tons. Now it is 700. How is that 700? In first 1000, how many tens, how many hundreds are there? In first 1000, 10 hundreds are there. 10 into 70 is 700 plus 53 rupees for each 100 tons exceeding 1000 tons. Now, if it is 10,001 to 25,000, then 5,470, because up to 10,000, how much it will come to? 5,470 plus 42 rupees for each 100 tons exceeding 10,000 tons. About 25,000 tons capacity there, what we are saying, 11,770 rupees plus 29 rupees for each 100 tons exceeding 25,000 tons. Right. Anyhow, this is more relevant according to me for the final students. Friends, try to understand. Normal principle of the life is love at first sight. What is it? Love at first sight. But the principle in a CA is hate at first sight. When we were preparing, I was told this by one of my senior. When I failed this particular exam on one occasion, they said, in case if you want to know what are the high yielding areas, ask one junior who has not written the exam and ask him to tick all the concepts which he feels that they are giving a vomiting sense to him. So that if you prepare that list, from that list only you get CA paper. So generally paper setter also know what points as a student you feel or you hate to remember, because for any person understanding concept and presenting it makes a sense, but remembering so many things is a really tougher task, but you have accepted the task. So please do make note of the income that you have to offer. That is, in case of a shipping company, you have to take it. Of course, I am not so cruel to you asking you to write the existing rates, at least the amended rates you please write. Write down tonnage taxation for shipping companies. Tonnage taxation for shipping companies. Operating profit of a shipping company. Operating profit of a shipping company is determined on the basis of tonnage capacity, on the basis of the tonnage capacity of its ships, Now you write with two columns: qualifying ship having a net tonnage, qualifying ship having net tonnage capacity, and on the other column you write presumptive income. Presumptive income up to 1,000 rupees 70 for each 100 tons. Rupees 70 for each 100 tons. Next slab is 1,001 ton to 10,000. 1,001 ton to 10,000. Rupees 700 plus 53 rupees for each 100 tons exceeding 1,000 tons. Then friends, 10,000, next slab is 10,001 tons to 25,000 tons. Rupees 5,470 plus rupees 42 for each 100 tons. Then above 25,000 tons, above 25,000 tons, rupees 11,770 plus rupees 29 for each 100 tons exceeding 25,000. Is there any way by which we can remember this? Is there any way by which we can remember this? What is the difference between 70 and 53? How much it is? 70 and 53. How many rupees? 17. What is the difference between 53 and 42? How much? 11. What is the difference between 42 and 29? 13. So the differences is first is 17, then 11, then 13. By some way you have to remember that, right? See, for those students who are preparing for the second group of their final, recently I saw in one of the bookstall, Asiala House, there's a book on your information technology paper is there na, for your final. There one author wrote a book where how to remember the points. He has given all side points and a very good book for memory purpose. As I told, there are certain subjects in CA course like your information technology, strategic management and your MICS paper. These papers really say, at least for me, they used to be nightmare. That is, how do we remember all that? Because certain subjects like accounts, audit, taxation, these are the things which we are practically doing, we can remember. But information technology is something, but I can say like that, but you should not say like that because you are supposed to qualify this particular examination. Develop, start loving it, then automatically you can get it, right? The big success comes in the life by feeling and doing is what I believe in the life. See, it is not the expertise that matters. It is the feel for anything that matters. Chalo, back to the point. There are few things which let me again put in your mind that in the personal taxation area of individuals and HUF, lot of benefits are there for the senior citizens because the present president was the finance minister when this budget is presented, and he is a senior citizen and he helped the senior citizens. What kind of tax ops you have? Senior citizen age is being brought from 65 to 60 years. That is one thing. Not only it is there are many other sections also senior citizens got the good amount of the benefit. Section 80D, if you look at, that is a Mediclaim policy, health insurance policy. If it is taken on the health of the senior citizen, then the limit is not 15,000, it is 20,000 rupees. 80DDB, treatment for the specified diseases, there also the deduction is 60,000 rupees. Similarly, a very welcoming amendment is 197A amendment, that is senior citizens no TDS for interest income earned after furnishing the form 15H. Chidambaram ji is proposing to have this particular thing being removed, of course not for the senior citizens. Now if I have got a fixed deposit in my bank, now the proposal is that banks are not supposed to give the interest without deducting the tax at source. Chidambaram says, let all the people against their fixed deposits, let the banks deduct the TDS, then let them claim the refunds in case if they are eligible. Otherwise, every person who has got income more than the basic exemption limit also goes and furnishes form 15H, and bank coolly don't deduct the tax at source. That is what I am saying. Year after the year, the move is towards broadening the tax base. The point here that you have to remember as a student is under section 197A, the facility is there for the senior citizen, and in case if he submits a form 15H, there is no need for deducting the tax at a source as a point. Yes, marginal relief. This is something which you have to understand. See, company SCs are exposed to the surcharge. Marginal relief is not a point which we are discussing for other SSEs. Marginal relief is only with respect to whom? Marginal relief is only with respect to the company SSEs. What kind of marginal relief it is? See, company SCs, what I told, if their total income is exceeding 1 crore, then they are liable for the surcharge. Domestic companies are liable for 5% surcharge, and foreign companies are liable for 2% surcharge. Now a beautiful situation will come, like let us suppose domestic company is there and it has got 1 crore 1 lakhs as its income. If the income is 1 crore, it is simply subjected to the tax at what rate? At the rate of 30% plus educational cess. But in case of the 1 crore company, you are asking that company to pay only 30 lakhs of the tax. Whereas if the company's income is 1 crore 1 lakh, you are asking that company to pay the tax of 30 lakhs 30,000 plus a surcharge of 5%. As a result of that, what will happen? Their tax liability will be over and above 30 lakhs, somewhere it goes to 1,80,000 plus. That means they have got excess income over the 1 crore, how much? 1 lakh only, but they are paying extra tax of how much? More than 1 lakh. See, for a company which has got income of 1 crore, it is only 30 lakhs of the tax, whereas for a company with 1 crore 1 lakh, who has shown 1 crore 1 lakh, you are asking that company to pay tax of 1.8 lakhs odd in excess of the one who has paid, what is it, 30 lakhs. Naturally, if you don't bring this marginal relief concept, what will happen? You are automatically tempting the people to show only 1 crore income. Let us suppose a company has got 1 crore 1 lakh. If it is exceeding 1 crore, we are liable to pay 5% of the surcharge on the total tax obligation. So naturally they will tend to reduce their 1 lakh of the income. So government feel it a threat. Then they said, no, we will give you a marginal relief. So what is this marginal relief? In case of a domestic company and foreign company where the total income exceeds 1 crore, then the aggregate of the income tax and surcharge shall be restricted to what? Tax on 1 crore plus total income minus 1 crore. Of course, I will make you to write, but first feel it. What is most important is feeling it. Feel it. Here look at the point. Total income is 1 crore. What is the tax, friends? 30 lakhs. If it is 1 crore 1 lakh, what will happen? On the 1 crore 30 lakhs, on 1 crore 1 lakh, if you operate your calculator, 30 lakhs 30,000 is the tax, and on 30 lakhs 30,000, your surcharge at the rate of 5% works out to be how much? 1,51,500. Put together how much it is? 31,81,500. So naturally, if I am the SSE, don't I feel bad? By earning 1 lakh extra over and above 1 crore, what is the difference between the tax for a company with total income of 1 crore and 1 crore 1 lakh? That is 1,81,500. It is too penalizing. At least in your language to tell, I hurt. Right. So the government don't want to put you into a hurting feeling. So they said, in that scenario, the tax obligation is restricted only to 31 lakhs. We are not asking you to pay 31 lakhs 81,500. How that 31 lakhs is coming, friends? How that 31 lakhs is coming is, tax on 1 crore is how much? 30 lakhs, and total income is what? 31 lakhs, and 31 lakh total income is 1 crore 1 lakh. 1 crore 1 lakh minus 1 crore is what? 1 lakh. So your tax obligation is put to 31 lakhs. Whereas if it is 1 crore, what is it? 2 lakhs. If it is 1 crore 2 lakhs, 30 lakh 60,000 is a tax, and on that surcharge is at the rate of 5% is 1 lakh 53,000. Then total will work out to be 32 lakhs 13,000. Then what we are saying, it should be restricted to 32 lakhs. How I am coming to 32 lakhs? What is the tax on 1 crore? 30 lakhs. What is your total income? 1 crore 2 lakhs. Total income minus 1 crore is 2 lakhs. So 32 lakhs. Then the third is 1 crore 2 lakhs 10,000. Here it is not 1 crore 3 lakhs. What is that you have to make note, because when you are again rewinding my lecture and viewing it, you should not get disturbed. There is a typing error. It is not 1 crore 3 lakhs. It is 1 crore 2 lakhs 10,000. In the place of 1 crore 3 lakhs, you put 1 crore 2 lakhs 10,000. If it is 1 crore 2 lakhs 10,000, tax on that is 30 lakhs 63,000. Surcharge is 1 crore 53 lakhs. The 1 lakh 53,150 put together is 32 lakh 16,150. But it is again being restricted to 32 lakhs 10,000. How come 32 lakhs 10,000? That is, your total income on 1 crore is 30 lakhs. The difference between your total income and 1 crore. Your total income, what I said, it is not 1 crore 3 lakhs. 1 crore 2 lakhs 10,000. 1 crore 2 lakhs 10,000 minus 1 crore is 2 lakhs 10,000. It has to be restricted to that. Next is, you take it as 1 crore 3 lakhs. What will happen? 1 crore 3 lakhs. On 1 crore 3 lakhs, it will be 30 lakhs 90,000 is your tax, and on that surcharge is 1 lakh 54,500. Put together is 32 lakhs 44,000. Now, is there any relief for how do you look at the point? Tax on your total income is what? Tax on your total income is up to 1 crore is 30 lakhs, and what I am asking you to do, that is your total income minus 1 crore. Your total income minus 1 crore is how much? Your total income is 1 crore 3 lakhs, and your 1 crore, if you reduce, 3 lakhs will be this thing. Then it becomes 33 lakhs. Do you feel like having the 33 lakhs, or do you feel like having 32 lakhs 44,000? You feel like having 32 lakhs 44,000, then there is no martial relief. So no much of a confusion. The example is like this. If the total income of X Limited is 1 crore 1 lakh. Friends, please remember, all the examples which I am giving in my presentations is all the one which is being picked up from the supplementary material given by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I always tell, any teacher or any author can only supplement the institute material, but they can't substitute. Even for that matter, my lecture also cannot substitute your material, because that material is being prepared by a group of chartered accountants, right, and is being viewed and reviewed by the 20 chartered accountants. So the chance of error, I don't say there are no errors, the chance of error is 0.001%. Chalo friends, look at, compute the tax liability of X Limited assuming that the total income is 1 crore 1 lakh. Already I told how to do this by a simple formula, but in a normal way, if you look at how the things you have to look at, tax payable on the total income of 1 crore 1 lakh is to be computed at the rate of 31.05%. What is 31.05%? On 30%, again your surcharge, your educational cess, your surcharge is 5%. So 31 lakhs 81,500. However, tax cannot exceed tax of 30 lakhs payable on total income of rupees 1 crore more than by 1 lakh, being the amount of total income exceeding 1 crore. Therefore, tax payable is 1 on 1 crore 1 lakh is equal to 31 lakhs. So, just make note of one simple point, marginal relief, marginal relief. Marginal relief is applicable, marginal relief is applicable in case if in case of companies who are subjected to surcharge, Now, tax payable is equal to tax on rupees 1 crore, tax on rupees 1 crore plus brackets total income minus 1 crore, total income minus 1 crore. So, make use of that particular formula to calculate the tax. Of course, with this, in case if it is getting increased, you are supposed to calculate in the normal way. ఇంకొక 2 minutes I have for it.